Greetings, man. First and foremost, I would like to thank you for tuning in with yours truly, man, Thv Script. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to have such an opportunity not only to share this education for creation, more or less the blessings, achievements, love, faith, the true grit that details that, and that's the place where we gonna meet. So it definitely looks like we hit the time of the day where we all must come together and face the facts. Now, Face the Facts is going to be just a routine ensemble we do involving a matter or a few that are currently going on, whether it's local or a broad range of news. What do you call it? Drama, all of that. But I ain't really going to dive into the drama. We're going to make sure we stay prayed up and keep a lookout for the ones who need a little support on that. So today, we diving into these topics that have recently surfaced. I mean, literally, like flood, water. It's bad. Over a span of the Midwest and the southern states recently, we have seen over the last week or so, a multitude of things happen. 157 tornadoes, they would say, has struck within 7 days. And I was just going through around the Kentucky, Tennessee areas up into Ohio, man. They was having to move out. Keep them prayers, man. Keep them prayers, man. Keep them prayers up. All I'm saying is, man, it's rough. We got a little water over here in KC, but compared to the whole picture, the whole goddamn mess, it's real bad, man. And they need a lot of love and support right now, and a lot of prayer. I'm sending them that way, and I'm hoping you do the same. Arkansas, Mississippi, Ohio, Indiana, even parts of Missouri. They're saying that Tennessee got hit bad, to the point people are just returning home. Up into the 8th, man, it was about 800 people can't even access their water. And then about another 4,000 who had to boil their water before they could even think about using it or even doing nothing with it. Those are those uncontrollable circumstances that we all cannot control how we, empathize with those situations, because it could easily be any of us. And thank God that, it wasn't many people injured in this. There were allegedly 20 or more people who were fatally affected. And this is over the span of all those states, all of those disasters that were taking place within this span of time. This is all taken into conscious consideration, how blessed we are, and then how much more we can bless others, at least with the prayer and the thought, consideration. Just face those facts today. Hey, we got to wait for that water to dry. We got to clean up the mess. We bless. And today's Face the Facts were presented to you from AP via Scripps News publicist. And this is from the Scripps News broadcast, which, if you're not familiar, it is a station broadcast on as many levels as antenna or whatever they call that TV now. You know what I mean? Something I like to go and reference from. They're pretty pure in the substance of the facts of the matter and pretty much where they stand on it. So all rights reserved in that matter of where this information was transmitted from. And give light and people will find their own way. Hey, shout out to Scripps News. I would like to thank you first and foremost for tuning in today, seeing as this is the season opener of See You On The Flip Side, and we are more than grateful to have you here. Initially, we started this idea going in the realms of audio podcasting, but you know what? I think it's better that you see it first. So along with the catchy little title here, you're going to see a lot of flip. You see, I'm your host, Thv Script, a Kansas City native and for sure back home. But we're going to build from that foundation and carry on. You see, along this process of podcasting ideals, it is more of a concept of me, along with to whom it may concern or even catch their attention, just to dive a little deeper and maybe even expand our knowledge or intellect in whatever topic or discussion that rises. All that being said, I come with no bias here. There's no ultimate theory I would push upon you, him, her, or anyone else for that matter. Here is only to build the connection with not only the community, but the society in which we are all in. Either way it goes, education for creation is what we have branded here. And the intention is steered right in that direction. Without heinous, I might not be the one you love. I got some things that you just might like. Yeah, never been a comedian, but I do dive into literature, and I find fact and even fiction sometimes appealing. And it's always good to dissect things in the theory of the mind. How we all digest it just may not be as clear as we think. Either way, it's not for that to be solved here, but clarity is always going to be sought out in any mission or any determination that is based upon the topics or discussions that I might bring to the table with not only myself, but those who I encourage to engage into these same actions. It comes to a time where the digital stage has reached its full potential. And with that being said, here I am, jumping on cam. It's nothing to be pushed in a boisterous way, but more so take that step into this realm myself, because I do have the concept of digital relations with the music and with other entities that I established myself within as a performer, writer, publisher, and now host. We're going to keep the chain building in these things. We'll get to that later on. Furthermore, the topics that we'll be going over are actually topics that I myself had no background knowledge other than what I may apply to in relation. But it's kind of funny because the facts that I'm going over with you and with whoever sits at the council, in any future sessions, it'll be something that I believe is of the same sustenance of understanding that I find in it, someone may find, or even a better understanding that I can't even conceive. But with all glory to God, hey, let's see what we can do when you see on the flip side. So today, with the welcome all, being us first meeting and whatnot, this is more of an introduction. And I won't go too heavy on self because this is more than I. So with everything that comes following this episode, it'll be more directed into a dialogue that was put into perspective. Today, I just want to share a little bit of myself. I'm a thick-skinned, numbskull, hard to miss. It's however you put it. Needless to say, I started at a young age, jumping into the writing academics, coming up with my mother in a young age. It was something I did to vent. I was her oldest son. We did a lot of moving and whatnot, a lot of shifting within schools, a lot of different friends made. And in particular times, I found interest in poetry. My little inspirations were Langston Hughes, the barriers he jumped over to write something down. Probably didn't even get to read it in front of a crowd, but don't take my word for that. But just saying in the times. And the family he came from, I found a lot of resonance in it just as a child. And reading a poem, it was like I was understanding some things. But that's needless to say, that's a man of his own unique journey. I found the sustenance in that. And I can still remember, it was just a series of projects we were working on at a time when I was in elementary, going probably around middle school age. We engaged into having to pick particular people to digest, in the dialogue of writing and composition. That's when I fell in love with something. I understood a rubric that was very vocal, but more so written. Fast forward, this is something I still engage into, which is why I started with that, because, writing is a passion of mine. I've written a lot of compositions, and I've started a few books that, Lord willing, we're going to push to the limit. Either way it goes, somebody had to sprinkle a crumb for someone to see a trail. I'm the type that loves to do such things, even in the realm of nature. Such matters is why I bring this to the table. I fell off at a young age when it came to the weight of society and how I took that and received that as an adolescent who carried some responsibilities. That led me to incarceration by the age of 17 that was not anticipated, along with the tag of 10 felony charges, all on one occasion. And with that matter, it could always be touchy, but I would never go into detail of something that doesn't matter. See, mistakes were made, a lot of lessons were learned. And amongst all that, a lot of studying is what happened. A lot of practice and a lot of meditation and time with God. And whenever that occurred, there was a fight that still rose within me. even as far as the judicial, as much as the appeal, that I almost lost the faith in being called back, and in turn a change in the whole scenario based upon lack thereof or whatnot. We'll get into that maybe in a related topic later. All I'm saying is there are matters that we can all relate to, and there are injustices that all can find justice through or from my own perspective. Hey, needless to say, you are tuning in with See You on the Flip Side. Now, upon my return, I stepped into society not with a knowing date, not even knowing that I would bounce back in the relative time I did, because I got hit with the 13 years. And this is 85% in the state of Missouri, for the classification of said felonies. Relatively speaking, it was a whole snitch factor, and I didn't fit that jacket. Either way, ain't nothing to brag about, and stumbles make falls. I kept fighting, but the fight that I took on was more of a logical standpoint of the knowledge that I did not even have coming into a situation that demanded more understanding from me. Now, this is something, no matter what the factor is, it could be as much as not even making the SAT scores. There is something relative to a time in life where all of us face a situation where one slip just might count. So my story will unfold along with a lot of different things that we are unwrapping. And I like to take it outside of the realm of music when I approach these things, so that it also builds even more a personality on this substance of digital relations with not only the community, fans, followers, supporters, and those who engage just in the active growth of not only communion with spirit, God, and all the above, but with self, here, now, and with all that matters. Now, if I perceive the way I did when I stepped back into society, I still would crumble the way I did before I saw a thing. I say that with the fact in mind. Even with the years I spent, by the time I touched free soil once again, it was about 4.5 years from my 17th. At this time in life, I studied, got my high set equivalency to a GED within about 8 to 9 months of hitting a maximum facility. And I continued to study because I had a lot of time. I went straight to the doc, 23 and 1, Yeah, that's if you're lucky, because some days things are ugly. And either way, I got into books because I wasn't even trying to jump on a hustle with my broke ass. And so with that in mind, I opened my mind to a lot of things. It started with just furthering the knowledge I needed to obtain that high school equivalency. The books that I was looking through, a little off year, but they still had some knowledge for the school. I'm in here checking them out, reading. I'm like, dang, we didn't even do this part. This part don't even matter. But I actually saw, so I'm like, okay, boom. I'm diving into the books. I couldn't get with the fiction too heavy because I had a lot of things that was going on in real life that some people probably would have thought was fiction. I was dodging them, and not saying I'm against it. I will read, and I got into the romance, shout out to Sandra Brown. It's a lot of authors and stuff that, I'll get into the fiction fantasy stuff, but not to eat when I'm building. But it is a good concept. Either way it goes, I dove heavy on the nonfiction. And because I'm already in the law library studying anything I can about these statutes, about these court rules, about these different just laws that I was unaware of. Then the limitations of state, government, federal, all of the above. So I'm just like a kid trying to break free because I knew, hey, I caught the bad end of that one, of the short bus that time. Anyways, we gonna go ahead and skip the bull. It was just a whole bunch of working out in books, right? Congregating. There was a lot of spiritual brothers that got it through dark situation, and a young man like myself could have easily gave into. And there are people every day who are still falling victim to the mind state that is given through maybe a mistake. And either way, when cases, and I would say 99.9% have not actually been weighed out in every, resolving manner. But we can always pray, and hope, and continue to share these things when you see it on the flip side of life. And you can take away the title that is in which something I am given, because it is actually a name my father holds and had prior to me, and nothing that I do is new. And with that being said, when you see it on the flip side, take me out of it as well. I'm just your host. There's going to be a lot of smiles. There's going to be a lot of laughs. There's going to be a lot of jokes. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I think that's a lot of life, if you ask. I just can't wait. I can't wait, because I'm trying to get me some. Thing about it is, we have branded education for creation. This is what you would call a fashion in which See You on the Flip Side is going to approach all matters and topics. Because the thing is, if we're not learning from each other, if we're not learning from something, how is it even relative to the time I can share or the time you can give? And hey, that's all it's all about, because it's all about the time you can, and I would like to grow with you here, now, tomorrow, yesterday. Oh, that's a familiar face, type thing, because that's how it starts. It's a spark. Something so familiar, as much as even the topics of patterns and pathologies we're going to be talking about this season. It'll be so many familiar things that pop up in these conversations. It's the patterns. And with that, you can dictate a pathological trait. I can't wait for that one. What else we diving into this season? I think communications and understanding. Yeah. Understanding and communication, either way you see it. That's actually going to be a very detailed podcast episode. So stay tuned for that. That one. Whoo! I can't wait to see what y'all think, because the barrier has not been broken there. Furthermore, taking the lead, leadership roles. That's another topic I believe we're going to be touching bases on. Whether it's now or later, that's one of them. You got to take the lead. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it, right? Whole time, though, if we all could take the lead, what could follow? That's just a side note. Man, I get beside myself. That'll be an interesting topic, though. I hope you stay tuned for that. And I'm building this personality along with you. I know you're going to laugh at my ass. Excuse my French. Came straight from the backside with this one. See you on the flip side. All jokes aside, we will also be touching base on way more topics. And hopefully you will see way more faces than just this one right here. And yes, this is my natural hair color. Please do not ask, because somebody just did. Either way it goes. This is a little me. It'll come more and more as a river will flow. And that's as much as I see through this podcast as we go in with these episodes and dive into these dialects and dialogues that may be even hard for me to comprehend. That's where I will need your engagement. That's where I will need your time. If I ask for any, as much as I would love to share, I would love to see it on the flip side as much as you. It's not too hard when you got someone else to look at it. We all got two pairs of eyes. We all got different lines of vision. We all have different approaches to the way we see things. And there's so many levels you can take the components to every equation. But if you really just let things sit on the surface of matter and you look at it, at a table amongst, let's just say a table amongst, it could be a feast of good. It could be a feast of whatever you say. Either way it goes, it's no good to sit at that table alone and dissolve these situations, whether you are capable, able, or not. And as much as we think we know, as much more we don't understand. As one good man once said, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. There are known knowns, and then there are known unknowns. And as relative to that, there are unknown unknowns. How much more can we share? How much more can we know? Kansas City is where we're at, man. And this is just something we gonna do. Seeing it on the flip side is something that's not even just a staple to who I am. It's a staple to where I'm from. And the topics and the relation to those topics will come from a place that I may or may not have ever even touched in my whole communication of line, So it's intriguing. The anxiety is at a T. And yes, I will wear shades, but I won't wear them every day. Either way, I'll see you on the flip side. And I'm really happy that you could tune in. I would like to thank God every time that we do this, because it is a blessing to even as much bring the presence here, now, to be able to speak and to be able to be heard and to be able to even be dissected. And for any further thing, whether that action be whatever your free will dictates, judgment, growth, feeding, any type of thing, there always is a start, there is an end. Or I would like to say finish, because I don't see there's 3-letter words in this world. You'll hear me talk about it one of these times, or 2 or 3. There's 3-letter words in this world, and there's end is not one of them that I believe in. So long story short, I would like to say at the finish, you will realize that the start was the whole ignition for that trip. The journey was just something to explore in the details of what creates the lessons and theory of it all. And we can share it in this beautiful place that God has given us. I ain't pushing or swaying. There will be a lot of things I say, and that's my personality trait. That's the character that is being built with you. And I hope that you can share as much, whether it be a comment, man, troll, do it. You can even send old girl through the inbox if you need to, if that's the way you want to talk about support, because that's what we here for. So do what you got to do. But tune in, because, it's something that's going to be, I know the word, but I was making sure you know. It's going to be fruitful, though, because I'm going to wait on you. I need you to wait on me. And that's how we balance things, right? Let's hit the surface with this. As we see each other on the flip side, as we see the world on the flip side, and we could take it as far as the universe on the flip side. I hope you like my books. There's so many more. But this is my first mind, and just the assorted library for which the space that we will be shooting. See you on the flip side. I'm not going to be bogarting with my music and all that, but there will be times where we impregnate sessions that do give the love and time and compassion to people as much as myself, who create, who write. I support any growing or avid adventurous into the musical field, because see, the thing is, music is a big thing. It's a simple word to learn, but the aspects I'm still learning is reading notes, and as much as placing notes, and see key signatures and all these different things. And the composition is something that is in nature of me, and that's why I want to just dive into that on many different occasions. You will get a lot of music side notes and sidebars, and you might get a couple leaks if you really mess with me like that. You might get a couple leaks. See, there's gonna be an overflow of things coming. You gonna know when you got leaked, and you gonna know when it's really just a flood. Now, this flood could be of information. It could be of fruit. It could be of understanding, wisdom, growth. It could be of every God-bearing nature. But on the flip side, it might not be that way. And that's what I'm here for, too, because I want to see it. You see, I'm going to dig up some stuff just as much as I hope you do. Shoot something. It's going to be a lot of things. We're going to keep it annotated, and we're going to make sure things are right there underneath me. You look under my big head, there will be something down beneath that will link you in with the same thing that ultimately led me to probably these concepts, to any of the topics that we even surface, or that I could even fathom that we would touch if we reach together. All that being said, please leave me out of context, but do subtext, because I call me the substitute teacher, if anything, because I'm just your host, Flip the Script, and you're tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side. Thank you. May we just collectively grow throughout each lesson, chapter, thesis, discussion presented, man. Just know that this podcast is also within the depths of today's societal issues. And not only that, the solutions. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side. All right. So, throughout this season, here's what you'll really expect. We've got through the welcoming and everything as much as an introduction. We'll go into patterns and pathology initially after this. If you follow along with these stepping stones, hey, this is what we stepping on. P's, patterns and pathologies. Following that, we'll dive into episode 3, which is understanding and communication, leading into episode 4, taking the lead and leadership roles. Episode 5, we entitled housing pain and how to deal. That sounds deep. Episode 6, a pat on the back or proud to be. Episode 7, decision making versus leaps of faith. Episode 8, opportunities, ? Yay or nay. We'll lead into episode 9, environmental pressures and the influences. To episode 10, baby, playing your part. And we'll do a double header on that day because that will lead into the season finale. Each finale will be entitled The Last Call. And during the last call, what we will do is gather a great summary of the topics that we have touched, surfaced, and maybe even expanded our own wisdom on, and make sure that we digest it every little bit the way it was supposed to be digested. With that being said, you're going to get a 10-piece this time. And if you hang around, who knows? Stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side. I'm your host, Thv Script. Now, if you're a music creator like myself, I've listed down below a couple of links that will lead you to websites of my own and affiliations. I've been making music creatively throughout my childhood up into the adulthood in which I've reached now. I'm always enthused to find new creators and to digest what they have to say, what they have to perform, in whatever way of art that is. Hey, we all for that here at FreeMind Society LLC. And with that being said, I would like to share where you can find me at. Now, Instagram is something that's trending. You can find it, Thv Script, at flip it around, Only thing about me is I spell the with a V, not a E. It's just proportionally balanced, if you ask me. You'll catch it. Anyways, the thing is, I believe you could find me on Snapchat the same way or whatever. I do some public things on there, and of this nature of podcast, you might find it. There is indeed actually a Instagram, particularly for the podcast, which will only present podcast content such as this and whatever else we produce. You can follow it at Instagram at SYOTF at flip it, at SYOTF. We're also on Facebook. There is a Facebook page, and I believe it's the same. It's SYOTF at flip it, at SYOTF. Now, we are just touching the media basis with all of this content, and it's something we're excited to do. I do have what you call a family of well-oriented people from all measures and walks, all journeys and stomps. And I can't wait to put their face on some things too, because you know what? I ain't that cute. Okay? Check it out. We got a lot for you. Stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you.
Subscribe and watch these videos. Make sure you subscribe all the time. Thanks to strive and subscribe only one time. And you are the best. You believe. Thanks for subscribing, and you are the best. You've seen what you ever seen. be behavior, and don't forget to subscribe and watch these channels and believe. Don't subscribe on these videos.